Good morning, and today's going to be 7-3. We are in mid position. We have a raise first in from early position, folds round, big blind calls. This player's playing 18, 14, 7. Looks to be pretty tight in terms of raising ranges. We do see raise first in stat that gets pretty high on the cutoff and button. EP stays at 8%. 20% for mid position, 50% for cutoff, 40%, 44 for button. These two are probably in the middle. And then it tapers off for small blind. That's a little unusual, but the VPIP increases. So we're dealing with a tighter range here. Doesn't limp, so his hands that he's raising with, and hands that he's going to play, he's probably raising with. So I put a range like this. This is 10%. Maybe it's too wide. If we go like 8%, it starts tightening up, and you go, hand like that. And let's go a hand like this. This is closer to 8% of what we see. Just thinking that we do have random chance. He may have had some bad cards, so we tighten him up. Maybe he's had some good cards, and this is actually tighter than he normally does. Then he normally plays his raises first in. But I think it's pretty good. Calling range is going to be wider. I've got 23-20. Overall big blind is 33%. 33% from small blind. Pre-flop calls 3-bet 2 out of 6. Calls to 2-bet 3 out of 6. His 3-bet range, or 3-bet, is 19% overall. So he's done it 6 out of 32 times. He's done it 2 out of 4 against the button, and then 2 out of 12 and 2 out of 11. So 2 out of 12 for mid position, 2 out of 11 for EP. These could be he's just getting hands, and I had that last few days. I've had some streaks where I was getting decent hands, and I was just playing a lot. Nothing wrong with that. So with the hands that we do know, we have ace queen suited. So I put together a range something like this. This is 33% already, or 32%. We've removed jacks plus, ace king plus, and ace queen suited. I think this is probably a decent range to go with. Kind of matches the size. Yeah, it just kind of matches the 33%. Just his stats. So I think we're going to go with this. All right, flop comes down king, queen, 9 with 2 hearts. He checks, he bets. He bets closer to like 66%. I think on this board you are seeing more bets here. So probably top pair plus, flush draws at a minimum, right? That's 50%. Maybe we would get a middle pair. His C bet in positions 88%, out of position 56%. So kind of think maybe middle pair he's gonna fire here. Maybe Jackson 10s. That allows him to kind of go for the gut shots as well. It's 2 card gut shot, 1 card gut shots. I think King Jack, King 10, Queen Jack, Queen 10. I think we already have those hands. So I think something like this is probably what he's going for. I think those lowest pair 8s, let's throw those in too. So basically 100% of his range is what I think he's probably betting here. He may be tighter, but then we get a call. I could see a straight check raising here. Let's check post flop. No, we just don't have enough data yet. So I could see a straight check raising here. I would think a straight would check raise. He does look like he may have the pre-flop numbers that would suggest he's aggressive. So straight check raising here to prevent the hearts. I think the king could be out. King would call. Queen maybe would call once. I think two pair would probably do the same thing. Check raise here. Because he would be on the more aggressive side. Top pair, I don't think so. I think he would probably just check call. Middle pair is probably a check call. Pocket pair less than the second pair cards, a check call. Bottom pair, I think comes down to what other draws does he have. Does he have the gut shot along with it? Does he not have the gut shot? So when it comes down to the gut shots, I think if he has a 9, he's calling. Like 9, 10. Yeah, all of those are calling. What about these jack 8s? Yeah, we'll just go ahead and do all of them. So that's at 57%. What is his full to C bet stats? 100%. So 1 out of 1, 1 out of 1. That's okay. I think we're okay with what we're playing. All right, 6 of diamonds comes out. Now I kind of expect if he does not have a king, he will check. So like a queen would check, a 9 would check, jacks would check, 10s would check. I think that's my expectation. So check, check. I don't think his check tells us anything. His check does. We could eliminate, I think, all of these. And I kind of feel like the flush draws would have continued betting too. So if I can X those out, that's 44.6%. His hand just got massively weaker. And I understand. You took a stab with, let's say, pocket 8s. You got called. Do you really want to bet again? Personally, I think you should. I think there's a lot of gut shots. There's a lot of draws that are going to be calling at least once to see what you do. And once they see you check the turn, then I think they're going to attack you at this spot. So Ace of Hearts comes out. Flush gets there. This guy checked, which I guess maybe he could be slow playing. I'd say no. I do think the straight might check here. Being afraid of the flush that just connected. Same thing with the set. Maybe he would check there. And two pair. Maybe he would check there. Top pair probably just checks and plans to a check call because he just connected. Middle pair, yeah, I think the rest of this just checks. So some of these hands I do expect to be bet here, and that's why we scale them to 50%. I do expect some of these to bet. Try to get a little bit of value. Try to get a little bit of value when they hit their hand. I don't think this other guy has two pair or top pair. I think he might have bet a little bit more just to get a bit of value. But we can scale it. We could say something like 33%. And maybe it's more. Maybe it's just 50%. Maybe it is. Maybe he does get scared because of the heart and chooses not to bet. So I think we're going to go with that. So we do see a showdown. He shows 10-9. So that is like the gut shot. 10-9 has 10-9 offsuit. And this guy shows ace-2. So he did have a top pair. I didn't have ace-2 in his range, but maybe like ace-10, ace-jack. Yeah, I would have to include that as a c-betting range. And yeah, it's possible. I would, based on his c-betting range, it's pretty high. I think the board favors him. I could see ace-2 betting here and then not improving much and then just checking. So let's get this taken care of. I think it's 2.5. Yep, raise first in, 2.5. Big blind in EP3. He is in position. He bet 66%. Check, check. On a king of diamonds, queen of hearts, 9 of hearts, 6 of diamonds, ace of heart board. All right. Let's see here. He calls. EP3, 2.5 big blinds, RFI in big blind with 10 of clubs, 9 of spades. He is out of position. Check, called 66%. Check, check. All right. So I think this range is okay. This guy's range, maybe he plays something like this, which is interesting. It's at 9%. Okay. Maybe something like that. So I understand, definitely understand what he was doing. He's playing a pretty tight range. Board comes out, should be helping him more than Big Blind, because Big Blind's going to have a lot more hands in his range, a lot more chunky hands in his range. But Big Blind also has basically all the kings. If he's playing king X suited, you've got your hearts, you've got your clubs, you've got your diamonds, you've got a lot more like offsuit kings, because I think we went down to king 10, maybe king 9. I think there are more ways for him to connect, but there's also a lot of hands that completely miss. Just look at all of these. Look at these. These all connect. So you do have to be aware that there's going to be draws. There's going to be gut shot draws out there. So when you see bet, I think those gut shot draws will call, and then they might call once. A lot of times they don't call that second time. They take a shot initially because they think you could be bluffing, and then when you check on the turn, it kind of suggests, oh, if they, maybe their pair that they have going with the gut shot might be good. So it goes check check on the turn, and that's, I've got nothing wrong with the bet. I think 10-9 made the loose call on the flop again. I probably would have just dumped it because the gut shot, we're relying on the jack, and even a jack of hearts isn't going to look pretty for us. We don't have a heart to go with it. If we had a 10 of hearts and then let's say 9 of spades, maybe I might call one. But since I don't have the hearts, I think this is probably a spot I'm just going to give up. Go to the next hand. So then the turn goes check, check. And then on the river, we've got a check here. And I do expect this guy to be betting when he has a decent hand. He doesn't want to see the river go check, check if he has, let's say, ace, king, ace, queen, or even the straight. So I expect, the better hands in the range to go ahead and bet. When he checks, he's got weaker hands. Now the question is, what proportion of those hands could call? Would a hand like 10-9 call here? Would a hand like pocket jacks call? Would a hand like pocket eights call, or pocket sevens call? That's kind of the question mark, because when he checks and you have your pre-flop raiser, then betting, should he be betting for value with this ace too? I think he could. I mean, the ace of hearts comes out, and just because a heart comes out doesn't mean that he has one. Pot's 12.7. You could easily go like a quarter to a third, no problem. Bet 4 big blinds, bet 5 big blinds. He has. We gave the out of position player an opportunity to bet once we checked the turn. So he could have led on the river. He chose not to, which to me suggests he probably doesn't have a strong hand. So if we bet, it kind of gives us, we did like a stop and go, and it kind of makes our hand look a little bit weaker. Yeah, probably have the ace, but we're hoping to get called by like a lot of bluff catchers. And I think bottom pair is a bluff catcher in this case. So kind of wish he would have bet a little bit smaller, go for a little bit more value. Would I have done that? There are days when I would not do that, but I'm focused on trying to increase some value, try to get a little bit more value with some of these hands. So there would have definitely been a time where I look at the hand and say, well, I've got a value, a showdown value hand. I don't want to bet here, get raised, and have to fold. Let's just take the showdown. And I think I miss some EV with that. So I think this would be a spot we could bet. If he has like ace, if he has ace 5 and he calls and beats us, he beats us. But I think there's a lot more hands in this situation that would call. So let's get these up here. 6 of diamonds and ace of hearts. So if we bet, yeah, of course his top pair is going to call. But I kind of feel like the king would probably call too. So if we just kind of work out, what he would call, definitely he would call with all of those. Maybe the weak pair. And we could scale this. Let's scale that. Say 50% of the time he calls, 50% of the times he just folds. I think the middle pair probably calls, but we could scale it and say, okay, these weak kickers are probably definitely calls, or questionable calls. We're gonna say these are 100%, so we're color coding them. So right there, his calls that we beat represent over 50%, so we can get a little bit of value. And of course, we're going to lose those. So that right there argues that we should go for a little bit of value, because I think he would call with hands that we beat. And if we're off, if all these hands bet, then they get taken out, and that means there's a larger percentage of hands that will call that we beat. So let's end it here. Hopefully you enjoy the hand. Learn a little bit of something. I think he missed a little bit of value. I think that's kind of take home. Hopefully you enjoyed it. If you do, look tomorrow for another hand.